Hello fight fans, thanks for joining us at MMA Insider. Before we get rolling with today's news, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing. Now let's uncover the latest happenings in MMA. Starting off, Cannonier sounds off on controversial stoppage at UFC Louisville. Moving on, Dustin Poirier confirms he had rib injury going into UFC 302, says his wife wanted him to pull out. Next, Pereira questions the timing of Jamahal Hill's UFC 300 remark. Moving on, Garcia speaks after arrest for felony vandalism. Lastly, St-Pierre dubs UFC champ Islam Makhachev as #1 pound for pound. Cannonier is sounding off on the controversial stoppage at UFC Louisville. It was just this past Saturday, June 8th, that saw Cannonier go up against Nassourdine Imavov in a middleweight bout. The result was a TKO victory for the Frenchman at round 4. The overwhelming reaction to the fight stoppage by referee Jason Herzog was disbelief. Several fighters and members of MMA media took to social media to voice their displeasure with the call. Journalist Ariel Helwani was very vocal about the call this past weekend, taking to X saying, "I mean, this is really awful. Watching live, I thought Cannonier lost a mouthpiece or something. He was robbed here. I'd love to understand why Herzog, who is typically solid, made this call. One of the worst in recent memory." Speaking to media, Cannonier voiced his concerns about the stoppage with Ariel Helwani. Here is what he said. "Well, you know, when it happened, it was gut-wrenching to say the least. It definitely took some time to collect myself. I had to go back and rewatch the fight and really relive the whole thing all over again, and it was really gut-wrenching. It feels like the opportunity to do great things was pretty much stolen from me in that moment. It doesn't feel like I lost the fight. It feels like it was taken from me." Gut-wrenching is an understatement. It could have been a fight of the night. It could have been a bonus for me. Cannonier was obviously very disappointed and frustrated with the outcome. As far as what will make it right, Cannonier believes the UFC brass and other fighters and fans believe the stoppage call was an error. To make it right, Cannonier wants a rematch, and he's ready to go to Paris to get it. Do you agree that the fight stoppage between Cannonier and Imavov was a huge error? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Dustin Poirier says he did suffer a rib injury in the lead-up to his UFC 302 fight against Islam Makhachev. Poirier was headlining UFC 302 against Makhachev in what he called his final crack at UFC Gold. Unfortunately for Dustin, he came up short as he suffered a 5th-round submission loss. Following the fight, Edwards came out and said that Dustin had suffered a rib injury in training camp, which kept him from grappling. Now, over a week after the fight, Dustin has confirmed that was the case. Here's what he said. "Yeah, I bust my ribs in camp, but of course, I don't want to talk about that. I don't think it changed anything or the way I fought. But yeah, I smashed my ribs up bad." When asked if he ever thought of having to pull out of the fight, Dustin Poirier says he didn't, but his wife wanted him to, knowing how much pain he was in and how little he was able to grapple. Here is what he said. "Just my wife wanted me to, but I wasn't gonna. It was too close though, man. I was already halfway through camp. I was like, I'm fighting for the belt. I was halfway through training and I'm fighting for the lightweight title. Like, I wasn't pulling out." Poirier ended up fighting through the injury and had some success against Makhachev. However, he still came up short as he lost by submission. Following the loss, Dustin hinted at retirement, and on Monday he said he is leaning towards retirement. However, Dustin says the decision hasn't been 100% made, but he says he is taking it day by day. If Dustin Poirier does retire, he will end his career with a record of 39-1 no contest. Dustin is the former interim lightweight champion and has notable wins over Conor McGregor, Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, and Anthony Pettis, among others. UFC light heavyweight title holder Pereira harshly criticized Jamahal Hill for reigniting their feud almost 2 full months since UFC 300. Pereira defeated Hill in the UFC 300 main event in April to retain the UFC light heavyweight title. Just minutes into the fight, Pereira landed a massive left hook to send Hill into unconsciousness. Amidst some of the controversy surrounding Pereira's victory, Hill has also blasted the light heavyweight champion for his post-fight celebration. While there was mutual respect between the two sides ahead of fight night, any admiration between them has faltered during the post-fight fallout. After Hill's series of recent social media posts questioning Pereira's win, Pereira has questioned where this energy was immediately after UFC 300. In a recent interview, Pereira hit back at Hill. Here is what he said. "To be honest, I kind of don't get why he's doing this so late. It's been almost 2 months. People usually do that right away, but maybe he just woke up up from the knockout? Pereira is unbeaten at 205 pounds since making the full-time move up a division after a loss at UFC 287 to Israel Adesanya. He earned the then-vacant light heavyweight title by defeating Yuri Prochazka at UFC 295 in November. Hill will face short-notice replacement Carlos Ulberg at UFC 303 on June 29th. Pereira is expected to return to the octagon later this year to rematch either Hill or Prochazka. If Hill is victorious at UFC 303, it could go a long way in earning himself a rematch against Pereira. Tensions remain heightened between the two light heavyweight stars, and Pereira's latest jabs could fuel the fire behind a potential rematch. While Hill hasn't responded to Pereira's latest comments, it could be a matter of time. Boxing star Ryan Garcia has taken to social media following his recent arrest. Garcia has been out of the boxing ring since his April bout with Devin Haney. Weeks following the win, it was revealed that Ryan Garcia failed a drug test for 2 different substances. While the drug scandal was bad news for Garcia, he's now found himself in legal trouble. Over the weekend, the boxing star was arrested for felony vandalism. According to authorities, Ryan Garcia was arrested for causing thousands of dollars of damage to a California hotel. He was arrested and later taken to a hospital. Garcia's lawyer later released a statement stating that the boxer was struggling with his mother's health issues and had a momentary lapse in judgment. However, Garcia himself has now taken to social media. In the post, the boxer stated that someone was trying to give him medicine at a hospital and asked for prayers. He also compared his legal trouble to that of 45th U.S. President Donald Trump, who was recently found guilty of 34 felonies in New York. I feel like I'm Ryan Spears, Britney Spears. This sucks. I never hurt anyone. I've only ever loved everyone, prayed for people, and try to make a change in this cruel world. Kind of funny, both Trump and I are in jail. I don't know if he is in jail, but I know he got convicted. This sucks. I will be okay. I'm worried. I have to be at this weird hospital, and they are trying to give me medicine, and they have me on a hold for who knows how long. They will determine. Pray for me. God help me. UFC Hall of Famer Georges St-Pierre is the latest high-profile name to back Islam Makhachev as the top pound-for-pound fighter in MMA over John Jones. After Makhachev registered his 3rd consecutive lightweight title defense with a 5th-round submission of Dustin at UFC 302 this month, UFC CEO Dana White stirred up the pound-for-pound discussion when he definitively dubbed Jones as #1. White's comments sparked a flurry of debate across the MMA community, and now former UFC welterweight and middleweight champion St-Pierre has shared his opinion. Here is what he said. I think right now he's the best pound for pound right now. He's already starting to get to that status right now as an all-time great, beating Volkanovski, and now his last few performances are amazing. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Your dedication and support fuel our passion to bring you the latest and greatest in the MMA world. If you enjoyed today's news, please give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow MMA fans. Remember to subscribe to stay in the loop with daily MMA updates. We've got a lot of exciting news, interviews, and analysis coming your way every single day. Your engagement helps us grow and serve the MMA community even better. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of our daily MMA journey.